Wow. Well, sorry y'all, because we was just caught up, catching up, talking. But welcome back to another episode of Girl. We are here. I got at China Bobina. Hey China. What's up? Do you want me to call you China? Charina?
You
China? Yeah, because that's my girl. You know what I'm saying? That's my girl. What's up, girl? How you been?
Just living life one day at a time and can't complain much.
Just living life one day at a time. That is so true. Oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. Speaking of which, it's been a minute. It's been years actually. But it's so crazy like how time goes because it's been years. It's been a long time, but it doesn't feel like it's been that long.
It does not.
Maybe it's social media that kind of keeps us, still
absolutely
still in contact, still in touch, still being able to see each other. So it's been a lot going on with you since last time. Since last time we've seen each other.
Yes, definitely.
I was asking you behind the scenes, where was it that we were working at?
So it was at an apothecary. That's what they call it.
An apothecary.
Yes, and it was called City Chemist in Dunbo.
Right, yeah. City Chemist. They carried all the high-end.
Yep.
That's
the
right.
High-end, like beauty goodies.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were the crazy, but I don't know if you know this, but you were the first person that I allowed to like touch my hair in New York City. And I think I told you that the first time.
You did tell me that, and I told you you were in good hands.
Wait, I'm like, my hair lady that's been doing my hair, she's been doing my hair for like 12 years, and I don't let anyone touch my hair, and I just felt comfortable. I was like, yes, what you want.
Yeah. I remember that. And we gave you, I think I trimmed it, right?
You trimmed
it, blowout, styled it up nice. Yeah. I think you were worried about not getting curls or something. We curled it, right? Did we curl it?
We curled it.
Yeah, we curled it. I remember that. Yeah. That was fun. So for those who don't know, I am a licensed cosmetologist.
A good one.
I do my thing. I really do. But I haven't been working in here in a very long time. I want to say that was the last time I was actually working in here.
Oh my gosh.
After I left that company.
Amazing.
Probably was the last time I worked in here. But yeah, I was a hairstylist, y'all. I'm still a hairstylist. I'm still licensed. But like she said, a damn good one. And I did Charina hair. And Charina doesn't know that she did my makeup for my first headshots.
Oh my
remember?
gosh, I remember.
You remember doing my makeup with the blue?
Oh yes, that was so fun.
That's when I had blue hair.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she had really, really good blue
hair. Yeah.
And I was excited because I was like, let's match the brows. Let's
and I've been kind of following that. I'm still not good with my makeup, y'all. I try as much as I can. I keep it real light. But I still follow the tips that you gave me.
Oh my God.
With doing my brows. Being able to explore with color.
Yes.
Because I'm still very plain. I see the black eyes. This is my go-to all the time. This is what I know how to do, and this is what I do. Okay, but you're the makeup artist. You do the damn thing.
Even though I dress in like mostly all black, I always tell people, don't be shy. Makeup is a form of art. It's the form of like expressing yourself. And even if you just start off with a good red lip or even a fun pink, a lot of people tend to shy away from color.
Yeah.
Just because they might feel like it's a little bit too bold. But like, come on. Who doesn't want to be bold a little bit? You know? Even just like a pop of color in the inner parts of the eyes can like really bring out the certain like color of someone's eyes.
Right.
So now whenever I work with women and whoever sits in my chair, I'm like, come on, let me play with color a little bit. Like, let me do something that is out of the norm because everybody always wants a good neutral.
That's true. I'm a good neutral girl, but there's certain colors I play with my lips. So when you talk about the reds, because reds come in a variety of colors. And it's always hard to really pick a good red. Like you might pick a red and you think, oh, this looks good. And then you go home or you put it on with something and you're like, this is not really working. What is your go-to red?
My go-to red, okay. So I worked at Sephora for a very long time. I have a really huge background with them. My favorite red to always suggest was part of their Sephora collection, which a lot of people sleep on. But they have a red.
Really?
Yes, they actually have a red in their Sephora collection, and it's called Always Red.
Yeah.
It's like more of a blue undertone. So a lot of people, when they try to pick out their first red lip, unless they're very set on like more of like an orange tone or a red undertone, I like to suggest like blue undertones because it works well with a wide range of different skin colors.
Right.
And blue undertone reds make your teeth look a lot whiter. So I always like to push them towards that blue undertone because you can wear it with like so much different outfits. So Always Red by Sephora, and I love the reds that Rihanna comes out with on like, you know, in her Fenty line. She knows what she's doing with those colors. And then of course like 999 by Dior, that's like a staple. It's a staple red. It looks great on a wide range of like different skin tones.
So how do you learn, or how do you know your skin tones? Like, how do you know what your skin tones, your underlying skin tones are, and how these colors, you know, what colors will work for you?
Yeah, so before I became a makeup artist, I had a really deep background in like artistry in general. So I knew my color theory, and I became an educator in artistry. So I try to, like, whenever I get a new makeup student, I always like push them to learn color theory. A lot of new artists that are coming in now, just because I feel like it's very saturated in the beauty industry, especially.
Everything is kind of saturated.
Not just in the beauty industry, but like everywhere. But they have lost the importance of learning color theory. And I'm like, you guys, like, once you guys know your color theory, you're good to go. You know if this person has, you know, the warm undertones, the cooler undertones, the neutral undertones. So when since I had a background in that, my brain just works like, if I see you, I'm like, oh, she's for sure a golden undertone. I know what range of foundations I'm going to choose for you, or if I need to mix and match like different ones. And so whenever I get a new student, that's the first thing I try to like push towards them, is like, okay, where are you on your color theory? Yeah. Like, do you know what a color wheel looks like? Because it really helps out. Like, you can go from a corporate shoot where you're doing everyday makeup, but you don't know who you'll get in your chair. You don't know if you'll get someone who has the lightest of skins, or like the most beautiful, like dark skinned woman can sit in your chair. But how do you know what foundations to use? Right. Or how do you know what type of blush is going to show up on their undertones? So I always like give the newer makeup artists the game, and I'm like, learn your color theory. If there's one thing as a newer artist like that you need to learn, it's color theory. Right. Start with color theory, and everything else will like fall in place.
That makes sense. Yeah. That absolutely makes sense. Do you usually get a before you go with a client, do you know who you're going to be working with? You
Never.
Don't know.
Like, hardly ever. Even like when I've done red carpet events, they're like, hey, you're going to do someone that's going to be at the Emmys or the Grammys. Sometimes I'll know who it is. Most of the time I'll know who it is, but then they'll add on a different person. Or I could be doing an editorial, and we'll have the model in the dress, and the photographer or the designer's like, I hate it, I don't like the dress, let's put her in a whole different dress. So then all the looks that you put together are like that you had put together beforehand is just all thrown out of the window, and then they put her in a different dress. And that's where your mind has to be like quick, right? Because it's like, okay, new dress, new whole look for makeup, new whole look for hair. So I always tell my students, once you know your color theory, then your mind will automatically be like, okay, she's wearing yellow. Right. What are the colors that go good with orange or yellow? Right. You know? And your mind can automatically like switch up.
That is interesting. So when you are working on these events and these things happen, right? So you already did her makeup. She's fully done. And now they change it all up completely and they want a new complete look, what do? You have to clean off all the makeup?
Everything. So I always,
what is the timing behind that?
oh my gosh, so everything is, I mean, we live in a very, very fast city in general, and I didn't grow up in this fast city, so
Right.
learning how to move fast in general is like, it was a whole thing that I had to learn when I moved to New York City, because I come from a way more kid.
Yeah.
You know, I'm from the West Coast, and timing, like I always say, when people want to do fashion week,
Yeah.
they'll give you the most 15 to 30 minutes for like a full face of makeup.
Wow.
You don't know who's sitting in your chair, the looks that you're doing. They teach you maybe 30 minutes prior to you actually doing the models.
Right.
And
Wow.
it's not just one look, it's
It's
like
multiple looks.
1 to 3 looks. I've gotten like 15 minutes to do like a full glitter lip with like some really graphic black liner, and that liner has to be on point, like it has to look exactly like what the key artist did, or they will not send the model out.
Wow.
And I remember my first fashion week, like my first legit Pier 59 fashion week, I thought I did the exact thing that my main senior artist, key artist did, but I guess the liner wasn't sharp enough, and he sent the model back. And he was like, you got one more chance to do it, or I'm passing her on to a different artist.
Wow.
So the pressure is really, really big that they lay on you as an artist. So again, when I get my newer students, I'm like, okay, you guys want to learn fashion runway? I'm going to time you guys. And they hate it because, it's a lot of pressure. And I will put a, 15-minute timer. And sometimes I'll even change it up and I'll do 10 minutes because I want them to see how much they can get done in 10 minutes. But timing is everything.
Wow, that sounds like I remember doing a fashion event again when I was hairstyling and then being a hot hairstylist. And yeah, they give you 15 to 30 minutes
Exactly.
to make sure you get it done. So it's really important, like you said, for makeup artists to know their color scheme, and for hairstylists to know exactly the shape of the face, what style is going to look good on them. Do a quick consultation of their hair texture, what they can do, what you can do, whether or not they have a wig, if you can style the wig a different way, because people come so many different ways. So you have to be able to be quick on your feet and like, all right, I know what to do with her. Okay, I know what to do with her, and I know what to do with her.
Yes.
So yeah, it's definitely a fast world. Hair and makeup is a fast world, and since we've been doing it, it's changed.
It's changed
a lot.
Yes.
It's changed a lot. It's become so much bigger. I think we probably came in at the cusp of the change of the things that's happening,
Yeah.
and different styles and designs and, makeup looks and tricks, and makeup is becoming so much more a necessity
Yes.
than it was before.
Yes.
I
I totally agree with you.
Let's rewind back a little bit though. So again, we're going to start back from when we were working at City Chemist. You were the makeup artist and salesperson
Exactly.
there. So you go from there to now you here. Like, what was the journey from there to here? Are you actually working with an agency? Are you working independently? How is that? What is your day to day?
So the journey from there to here was quite a journey.
Yeah.
I left and I started working for Dior again. And after that, I got into the corporate side of things. And then my end for corporate was I became a global artistry educator for a makeup brand named Natasha Denona.
Nice.
After that, the pandemic hit and it shook, everybody. And I really had to ask myself, like, did I go into the right field, Because a lot of people had to really think, like, they had a lot of time to think during the pandemic, like, what am I doing with my life? What career did I choose? Did I choose the right thing? And I was really fortunate that I was surrounded by, the right partner and the right friends and family members to just like really push me to kind of give me enlighten me a bit to let me know that I made the right move. But I was feeling like I didn't, because I was like, maybe I should have stuck to the medical field, you know. But after the pandemic, I still freelanced for a brand. I actually helped relaunch Gucci Beauty.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
That's
I really loved the company, and then I started teaching. I really loved it. I loved educating. I loved the educational portion of it. And then after that, my partner was like, why do you keep working for these brands? Like, you're making them so much, like, you're bringing them so much business here, and at the end of the day, I just watch you come home and you're just depleted. And he was like, you have kids, we have a future that we're trying to build. We keep talking about building an empire, a legacy to leave behind. So if you continue to work for these brands, what legacy will you
leaving behind?
He's like, what legacy can you leave behind for your kids? And that really got to me. I was like, you're right. Like, what legacy am I going to leave behind for my sons if I continue to work for other brands, And so he really pushed me to kind of like step away and really look at it from like, I have sat into so many roles in the industry, and why, like, I felt like, I really had to like ask God, like, did you put me in those roles because you had a bigger plan for me? And what's the bigger plan? Why did I sit and like start from like a cashier, start as like a temporary person? Why did I learn how to do product management, the account executive, like, every single role that you could think of in the industry?
Yeah, same
and I
here.
was like, what are you preparing me for?
Yeah.
And all my mentors, especially my mentor from Dior, she will text me every single month and she'll be like, have you started your brand yet? Like, I'll work for you one day. And this is someone that like I have so much respect for, And it really like gave me the courage to be like, all right, you know what, Charina, like, it's time to work for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to like start putting your efforts into building something, not just for you, but like something that you'll be proud to leave behind.
That's right.
So after that, I bet on myself. I went all in and I started, I hit the ground running and I started working for myself. I'm not with an agency. I'm still kind of like playing with the fact I'm in like a limbo right now, whether or not I want to be with an agency.
Okay.
Because I do have people that are like in my corner acting like my agents, and they have always like my best interest, and I'm like, maybe I'm good for now,
Right.
But I feel like, again, it's always like a conversation that I have to have with like the big man upstairs.
Yeah.
Like, is it the right time?
Yeah.
And it's hard because, it's like people like us, we're always like, I'm ready. And you're watching other people go into their season, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
When is it my
tap
turn?
me in.
Tap me in. But, I've been told so many times, just keep preparing. And when your season comes and when your time comes, like, you'll know.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Prepared. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we're actually in our season.
Yes, I believe that.
Yeah, we're actually in our season, and it's all going to come to pass.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all going to come to pass. I'm with you on that. I feel the same way. I played every role in this industry as well, and it's like, I believe that it was preparing me for this moment. To really be the boss. Really, hone in on that wisdom. Really have the discipline to keep what I'm building. So yeah, I'm with you on that, girl. Hustlers unite. Yes. Hustlers unite. We are outside.
We outside.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are you juggling, family and work? Like, how's that working out for you?
So this year, I've learned to only say yes to things that I feel like I'm in alignment with. And I have such a hard time saying no. I'm just like, I recently told my best friend, I was like, dude, all the years that you know me, I'm like such a people pleaser. Like, I'll say yes because I want to help everybody.
Yeah.
I want to be part of like everything and, get my foot into like, every single door. But we were just talking about like how that just leaves you sometimes like not aligned with like your purpose, So again, in the beginning of the year, I did some like collective thinking, and I'm like, okay, again, I know that I've been putting in the work, but what am I like? What are the missing pieces right now? Like, Chino, what are you missing that is not clicking?
Yeah.
Why are you not feeling aligned with like what you're, because everybody has a purpose.
Yeah.
And everybody, like, once you start kind of like digging, you'll kind of realize what your purpose is. And I'm working for a lot of companies and a lot of like designers that are not on the same like page that I want to be at. Like, we just don't align. Like, they're great people, but it's not in alignment of what I want to do. And I think more of like what I want to do with beauty is like, I love working with women and making them feel empowered. And there's just, certain areas that I know and certain brands that I want to work with that are in alignment of that.
Right.
And they're like more for like the good causes, And then again, like having to juggle feeling like depleted at the end of the day and just exhausted, and my sons are growing up, especially my eldest. He's headed into high school.
Oh, wow.
And I want to be sure that I'm not like texting, emailing, and, because I'm working for my own now.
Yeah.
So therefore, now I'm doing all my admin stuff on my own, and I'm, on business calls and trying to network.
Yeah.
So I had to really take a step back and be like, all right, be present. Because, he's starting to realize that like my mom is present, So I'm like, okay, I'm only going to say yes to what I feel aligned with. And I'm going to stop like letting people bargain, Like, it's hard when you set a price on something and then people are like, oh, but can you do this? And then when you say yes, you're like, you're left feeling even more tired because you're like, dang it, like, and I remember during the pandemic, they had Clubhouse, right? And they had a conversation about setting your rates. And Danessa Myricks, she's doing so amazing in the industry now. And I just like look up to her so much. Like, she's a single mom. She launched her own brand.
Yeah.
She is just doing it. And she's just the most kind-hearted person. That's the type of person. Yeah. Like, when I say I want to
align with, absolutely.
Those are the type of people
like-minded
that I look to. And I remember her talking about setting your rates as like an artist, or just setting your rates like in your business in general. And she's like, we're freelancers, we have kids, we have families. When we set our rates, we're setting for like, what if we get sick? Or like, we're paying for our own transportation and this and that. And I'm like, I never thought of that, And so she had a conversation with us about like saying no to the clients or like the projects that you don't feel like is the type of clients that you want, to make room for who really like will see your value.
That's right.
And that like hella resonated with me. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying yes to so many things.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling like at the end of the day, it's not where I want to be. And I'm not leaving room. Like, I keep saying I'm ready, but I'm saying yes to these things that like that don't belong to me anymore.
I totally relate to that. I've been in that space far too often and far too long.
Yes.
And this year, actually, top of the year, January 2023 is when I made my affirmation. And this year is the year of no. I'm going to receive the yeses that I'm looking for, that I need, but I'm going to be giving out the no's that, no longer serve me.
Oh my gosh,
and that's where I've been this year. And it's been working very well for me so far, And I feel you on that. I'm 100% with you on that. And it's so much more gratifying to you to know that you are giving yourself back to you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And just like knowing what you're worth and like sticking to it.
Yeah.
And I remember she was like, try it out. Try asking for the price that you're worth. And I remember I had like a huge client meeting that day, like the next day. And I was like, oh, there's no way this client, but I'm like, you know what? Stop with the negative talk. Like, stop talking down like that. The work that you've put in, Gina. Like, and I'm like, you have to stop thinking like that about yourself.
Yeah.
I remember before going into that client meeting, I was like, why wouldn't someone want to pay me this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I deserve this.
Mm-hmm.
I've put in the work for this. I'm not just like coming in, out of the get and being like, hey, this is what I just know. And so I had to think like that. And then, like what you said in the beginning of the year, I really had to set an affirmation or an intention. And I remember my really good friend Rachel, she had asked something in her stories, and she was like, what is the word that you choose for yourself this year? And I was like, I've never chosen a word for myself this year. And I was like, all right, what is the word that I'm missing in my life? And I'm like, okay, the word that I'm going to choose is discipline. And I remember it was like discipline in everything. Yeah. Discipline. I'm so like drowned in my work that I forget to take care of myself. And I've let my health go to to complete crap because I'm busy, worrying about my family, about my kids, about, what my next job is going to be, and just like working and no stop. And then I felt like my body was always tired. Yeah. I was just so exhausted. So I'm like, put some balance into your life. Start working on your health again. I remember like hitting the gym again, and I'm like, man, I'm so weak. I can't believe I let myself get this weak.
It's no joke. It's no joke.
I had England come to the gym with me, and I remember he was like, the first time I walked in, I kind of cried because I'm like, wow, I can't believe I let myself get like this, But then, like, once you realize, like, okay, I need my balance. Let's have some balance. Like, it's felt really good. I haven't been working as much, but I haven't felt like I haven't been working much. Yeah. And I've had time, to spend time with my sons. I have a lot of one-on-one time with Miles, and it's really important. Like I said, he's getting into high school and he's choosing the path as an artist. So I think I've been more on trying to give him that guidance, letting him know the real,
because he's going to need that.
Yeah. He got into a really good school, so I'm proud of him. He got into LaGuardia High School, and I'm like, boy, this is like the biggest opportunity that you can have.
That's awesome. LaGuardia High School is a damn good school. For the arts. So is he's looking to go into acting, or? So
he originally, this kid has said since he was 6, I want to become an animator. I want to be an animator. But he auditioned for fine arts, and he auditioned for vocal and instrumental. He's never had any vocal training, never had any instrumental training, but he got accepted into the vocal program.
Oh, that's awesome.
My family is very musical. Yeah. And he has always loved singing. I think it's something that is natural to him. So I told him, I said, he had his first adolescent heartbreak of really having his heart set on getting into the fine arts program. And I saw him for the first time really get crushed because it was a no. And I told him, I said, okay, babe, this is the first lesson you're going to learn as an adolescent. This is your first no, but this is not a no with a period at the end of it. It's a no, not yet. Not yet. I'm like, you have to think of it as when God redirects you. Yeah. I'm like, he's redirecting you for a reason.
A word, honey.
And I was like, my relationship with my boys has, a lot of people always ask me, you talk to him how I wish my parents spoke to me, and I always said that I wanted to have a relationship like that with my kids, to where I am just there not to choose for them, but to just guide them, because at the end of the day, I want them to make their own choices, right. But I just want to be there as behind them, guiding them through every single decision that they make.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. He got accepted into 2 schools. I told him we should go with LaGuardia.
That's what's up.
But we're excited. I can't wait to see, what he's going to be able to do with the training. And he's just, he's really, really excited about the next 4 years.
Oh, that's really dope. LaGuardia is a good school. A lot of famous people come out of
I did not realize
LaGuardia.
this until we went to their open house.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I'm excited for him as well. That's really, really dope. So the brand that you're working on, tell us about it.
So I finally started my own brand. It is called House of Malaya. In the Tagalog language, I'm Filipino, and in Tagalog, Malaya means free.
Yes.
And I chose a different business name. And again, when God redirects you, He has such a huge purpose. And I was so bummed. I was like, dang, I didn't get accepted. And I was like really thinking and praying, like, what is it meant to be? And so I came up with House of Malaya. And Malaya again means free. And when I think of like free, it's like I eventually want to create just like a place where creatives can come. You don't have to be a makeup artist, you don't have to be a hairstylist, like just anyone in the creative field can like get together. And there's you can create like with no boundaries. That's my whole thing, is
that's
like,
nice.
when you're a creative, why put a boundary on like what you could create and how you can create,
right, and how much you can create.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like the name Malaya. That's beautiful. And did you ever think like it correlates with where you are now as far as an entrepreneur? Because being an entrepreneur gives you freedom.
Yes.
I
definitely like feel that again. It's in alignment of like the time and like exactly like where I want to be.
So is the brand, what is the brand actually? Is it like for the skin, makeup?
So I want it to be a beauty and wellness brand. Again, it's about like everyone's lifestyle. Now that I'm like starting to realize like how important, taking care of yourself is, that's where the wellness came to play. And then of course beauty is always going to be where my heart is. And that's what I really wanted it to be about, was creating a beauty and wellness brand. And it's been a long road and a long journey, but I feel like I'm just in the season now where I know exactly how I want my brand to be, how I want it to be represented. My whole thing is I always, I've been speaking to like different photographers and videographers because I have been putting things together. And I was like, growing up, I didn't really grow up super girly. I was such a tomboy.
I think a lot of tomboys wound up like us.
And that's like, my family's like, what do you do now? You're a makeup artist? And I'm like, I'm putting makeup on people. But when I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of people to look up to. I didn't have a lot of people on screen, on the magazines, on, the billboards that I was like, oh, that girl looks like me. I could do that, or wow, she's a Filipina. I could be a Filipina makeup artist, So when I'm visualizing my brand, I'm thinking like, of course I want it to be of all shapes and sizes and different colors and, like just everybody is welcome. But I have a certain vision. Like I want anybody to look at the brand and be like, I see myself in that brand. And I'm comfortable because I see myself in that brand and I can connect to that brand. I don't want it to be like, oh, I have to look a certain way to be able to
wear that.
I want everybody to be able to feel like they're at home with that brand.
I like that. I like now that we're seeing so much of us being represented. Of course, we want more because we just, want more. But it's good to see what's happening as far as is gradually being introduced more and more. I'm seeing a lot more Asians on television, commercials, so that's awesome. That's awesome to see. So, which means that there's a possibility, there's a chance where your brand can actually touch all and everybody, because now all and everybody are interested in everything that people have to offer. We're all being a little bit more open with cultures, with with lifestyles, with race.
Yes.
So yeah, that's pretty
It's
dope.
a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
And I get excited every single time
Yeah.
I see it, especially when it's like represented well.
Yeah, represented well.
Yes,
Absolutely.
because that's what was missing for a really long time is the representation, the correct representation. I've seen a lot of Filipino actors on the big screens, but they were never allowed to play a Filipino character.
Yeah.
They had to play like a different Asian character, but now they just get to be Filipino. So I'm like, as a Filipino person, like it's just so like I'm proud, and I'm so happy that my kids get to grow up in
this world.
Yeah, and there is something that has been like every single time I've gotten someone of color that has sat in my chair, I still get a lot of like, oh my God, you don't know how many times I've gotten my makeup done and they haven't been able to match my skin, or that they don't carry my color, or if it's an Asian person, like no one knows how to do my eyes.
Wow.
And it kind of like baffles me still. I'm like, we're in what age
2023.
And that's why when I teach, I'm like trying to bring that to light. Like, please have these colors in your kit. Please know how to match women of color. Please know what to do on like Asian eyes, on like different facial structures,
So how did it change in makeup? Because with hair changed drastically, right? Because now it seems as if, I know when I, finished and got my license, I had to go through the state board. We had to go through the state board, and it had to be a really, detailed, defined test. You were being watched, you were being graded for everything that you did. It seems now in here that all the things that I've learned in state board, that I learned in school, and that I learned about, cosmetology and doing hair, you have to wash the hair first, right? You have to wash the hair in order to, get it to where you need to be. I find now stylists are just, they're not washing hair. They're charging for their specific service. If they braid the hair, they're just charging you. You need to come with it washed, blown out, greased, parted. They want you to do the work, and they just going to do everything else. I find that this is what's happening in the hair world now. So people are being paid for their specific service, and there are steps that's being taken out. Is that happening in makeup?
In makeup, yes. Some people I just never understood it. I mean, to each their own, but I don't get when people are like, lashes are extra, or I'll only do your eyes for this amount of price, and I'm like, I don't do that.
Right.
Like, it's either I do your full face or I don't do you at all, because I just don't see the point in, again, to each their own, but like I never understood that. Or people will be like, how much will you charge me just to put on lashes? And I'm like, that's why you have stores like Sephora and MAC. Like, they'll do that.
They'll do that for you. Absolutely.
But I'm not. I just do that. I don't a la carte things,
Right.
I want to cut all of that out. I do your full face because I want it to look all put together. I don't want it uniformed. But there are a lot of artists that's like, I'll do your eyes for this much, or I'll only do your complexion, because people are like, I know how to do my own eyes.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen that. When I look at someone's pricing, I'm like,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is really, really interesting. Yeah, I tell you, it's changed so much. Like, it's really become a hustle. And you as a teacher, do you find that a lot of your students are only in it because they know it's a hustle, it's a money grab? Or are they in it because I find there's so many people that's in any industry just because they know it's a way to make money, but they don't necessarily have the passion or the love for it.
And a lot of my students, they have, actually most of them have told me that they were very intimidated the first day that they met me as their teacher, because I have sat in like a lot of, makeup academies and like makeup classes, and I love that they want to be very gentle with these artists, which, yes, I totally get it. But me coming as an artist that was self-taught and coming from an artist that like had to like really, really like work my way to where I am now, I wish someone told me what the road was going to look like for me to become a makeup artist, to become a freelance artist.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't sugarcoat it. I wish they were going to be like, Charina, you have to do this. This is, the things that you have to go through before you can even touch a face, So when I'm like welcoming my new students, I give them the reality of it. And a lot of them, I'm like, I'm not here to discourage you. I'm here to really show you guys what the road can look like and what you have to do. So if you don't have passion for this, it's going to be hard for you, because if the passion isn't there and you're just in it for the money is not going to come right.
The money's not going to come.
Not unless you know someone, not unless you have an in with like a really huge production company, like a celebrity, like it's not going to come right away. You have to work towards that. And then again comes, well, I'm really good at just doing the face, so I'll just charge this. And they started to a la carte things, And I remember one of my mentors, because I was like, when I was like figuring out my pricing for New York City, I was like, okay, $25 extra for this, or, and she asked me, she said, Charina, do you want your brand to be known as like an like, what kind of brands do you want to attract? That's what she asked me. And I was like, really good ones. Like, I want to be able to like provide for myself with my clients. And she was like, okay. She's like, so you want to be more on like the luxe side of things? I'm like, I mean, who doesn't? And she's like, okay. She's like, if you walk into a Dior store, if you walk into a Louis Vuitton store, she's like, do they have prices like, just for the strap? Or like just for, you know what I mean? And when she said that to me, I was like, you know what? She's like, do they have a price for like just for the laces or something? And I'm like, no.
Your people will pay.
Yeah. And she was like, if they see the worth in you, they won't even bat a lash. Like they won't even bat an eye. And most of my clients now, when my prices go up, I tell them and they're like, okay. Okay.
When they love it, they love it.
They're like, just send me the invoice.
Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people who stick to. I find somebody I like, I'm gonna stick to them.
Same.
I'm gonna pay what you asking for, and that's that. And you build a relationship.
You're not just paying for like the service. But,
absolutely.
Like, it's the trust that you build with whoever's doing your hair, whoever's doing your makeup. I've done so many artists that have like started, and then now, they're going from one EP to another. And they've moved on with like other artists, and that's the thing as an artist. Like once your artist grows, they'll either stick with you or their style will change. But I still have a good relationship with them. I'm like, I respect that. Your style as an artist has changed, and that's not my artistry style anymore. So I'll either suggest them to someone who has more of that artistry style that they're looking for, or that's another thing. As an artist, you have to be confident, like to be able to pass it on to someone that loves doing that type of work. And I had a hard time doing that before, because again, I wanted all of the clients. So now I'm like at the point where if I have a client and I know that it's not the style that I'm really like set on doing, like that my heart is like jumping and racing to do, I know people, I have friends that love doing that style of makeup. I always tell people, me as an artist, I'm not a transformative artist. I could do it, but am I jumping up and down to like, am I excited? No, I don't want to do stuff like that.
And you have to be, especially when you're doing stuff like that. It's just music, just makeup, hair. You have to be excited about it, or else it won't come out good.
Exactly. I always tell them I'm more of an enhancement makeup artist. I love enhancing people's looks. And I have friends that love transforming them. So I'll pass them on to my friends. No problem. And that's why it's always good to like build that type of community.
That's right.
And if they don't like doing every single day, like CEOs, corporate stuff, they'll pass it on to me.
Somebody else,
and we're passing things on to each other.
Network.
We have no problem with that.
It's a good network.
Yep.
It's a good network. So I've seen that you've posted on social media, like magazine spreads.
Yes.
And let's talk about the magazine spreads and the placements that you have with the different models that you work with.
It's been...
Did I see something with Vogue, or was I just...
So, I recently just did Harper's Bazaar Bulgaria.
Period. You better.
That is great, you know.
Yes. I got dope girlfriends, y'all.
Like I always say, it's, you know, I can take all the credit, but I know where credit is due and who to give it to. And I know that I would have never been able to touch that without the faith that I've had, you know. And I did recently Harper's Bazaar. I've done done Glamour.
You better say that.
I'm in the works of like getting the attention of Vogue Philippines.
Yeah.
You know, like Vogue is ultimately, they just started Vogue Philippines last summer.
Wow,
so I'm like,
that's
on my bucket list.
awesome.
I'm like praying and, you know, putting it out into the universe, but I'm like, I'm ready. Whenever y'all are ready, I'm ready. You know, but I've seen photographers that I've spoken to, you know, got recently featured on Vogue Philippines, so I'm super happy and proud. And knowing that I'm in the same network as them, I'm like,
that's right. That's right.
You know?
You're a good company. And
yes.
good company.
And I just get excited because I get to share that with my grandparents.
Yeah.
You know, I have my grandpa's last name. And I remember when I didn't pursue the medical side of things, I told him, I said, I may not become a doctor or a lawyer or anything crazy like that. I'm like, but I promise you, I said, Redu Hario is gonna be known and I will carry your last name like to the fullest. Like,
you hear that, Grandpa? You better.
Proud, you know?
Yes.
And I remember the first major magazine that I got published on, and when I got my first Times Square billboard, I was like, here's the promise that I made you, you know? And now whenever I'm like calling him, he's in the province now in the Philippines, retired. He's like, that's my granddaughter.
That's right.
You know, he's like, send me the magazine.
That's right.
My mom is like super happy, super proud, you know.
Well, shouts to us for being on the Times Square billboard, because I had a Times Square billboard too. And it's a great feeling to go to Times Square and see yourself on the billboard, and everybody's looking at you like, well, what is she like?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, that's her. Yeah,
exactly. It's exciting.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's exciting.
Growing up in like not a really popular, I grew up in Reno, Nevada, and like the Bay Area, you know, like it was split. But coming from a small town like Reno, you don't ever think that like you are gonna get published and things like that.
Yeah.
And when I post on Facebook and, you know, people are always like congratulating me and all that stuff, I always tell them like, when I post on here, it's not because I'm posting to like be show offy or anything like that. I'm posting on here so that you guys know that if we came from this city, like why can't you do these things either? You know, it's never too late. Yeah. Like you don't have to come from a huge city to like do things like this. Yeah. And that's what I want to show like the younger generation.
That's dope though, because I feel the same way, and it's crazy you say that coming from, you know, Reno, but even me, born and raised in New York City, you know, it wasn't, you know, it was something as a kid, I'm going to be on there, you know, it's one of those things, but I never really thought that I would actually be on a billboard. So to see myself on a billboard in Times Square, it's an amazing feeling.
Gosh,
yeah, it feels good, and to be in your own city, to see that, like, oh, I did that. You know, I did that.
Oh my God, it's such a crazy feeling. Like you have all the emotions that you could ever feel. Yeah. Like that, it was well worth it. Right?
Yeah, it was well worth it. And I stared. I might have sat across the street and just stared at it as it kept coming back around.
Yep.
For hours. Yeah, for hours. Yeah. Just like, wow, okay. Yeah.
The crazy thing about the billboard, my first Times Square billboard, so when I started dating England, he took me to Times Square. And this is even before I moved to New York. And I remember I have this picture, and I posted it when I got the Times Square billboard. I took a picture in Times Square in front of Sephora because I was working for Sephora at that time. And it was like the billboard where the ball drops.
Yeah, right
and
there.
I pointed to it, and I was like, hey, can you take a photo of me? And he's like, okay. And I'm pointing to that billboard, right? And when I looked at it after he took the photo, I said, I'm going to live in this city one day, and my work is going to be on that billboard. And the same billboard that I was pointing at, that's where my first Times Square
You just gave me chills, girl.
was like featured. And I didn't even realize that until I was like digging for that photo, because I remember that moment. I was like, my work is going to be up here, but I didn't even realize that the same billboard that I was pointing at was
the same one.
Yeah. And that's again where I say, and I will never stop getting tired of saying, God is great.
Yeah.
And when you really have your heart set on something, and you have your heart and your head in the right place, and you know, my grandparents and my parents, they always told me, like, no matter how far you get and no matter where you go, always keep your foot on the ground, feet on the ground, and never forget who to give the glory back to. And I always tell people, like, my prayer every single day, like not even just a prayer, but like my conversation on the way to work, on, you know, in the dressing room before someone sits in my chair. I always like have had this like conversation with him ever since he's allowed me to become a makeup artist. I was like, this is really your purpose for me, because I thought I was going to be a nurse because I love taking care of people. And I thought that's where my purpose was going to be. But when I realized that my purpose was to be an artist because of the people that sit in my chair, you become like a therapist.
You're still taking care of people.
You know, I've had people
still servicing.
My clients are like, I've told you things that I've seen my therapist for 10 years and I've never even told her, you know? So I've always had like this conversation with him, and I'm like, if you continue to allow me to become this person as an artist, then send me whoever you need to send in my chair, and I'll have that, you know, I'll have that conversation that you need me to have with them. I'll be the instrument that you need me to be, just so they know that there's a little bit of like hope and faith and light in this world.
Yeah, I mean, you give a healing, you know, in your voice. It's calm. When I used to sit in her chair, do my makeup, she would talk to me, and I would just be like, you know. So yeah, you just give that vibe anyway, and you're still helping people. You know, you're making them feel good. You're making them look good. You know what I'm saying? Still providing a service. So you're still helping people.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love like my first. Like someone asked me recently, "What's your favorite part about when someone sits in your chair?" And I'm like, my favorite part is when they finally see themselves. And, you know, again, I'm more of an enhancement. So like I ask them like these certain things, and then I try to bring out like, oh, if they say they like their eyes, I'll bring out their eyes, their lips, you know. And then when they look at themselves, they're like, wow, this is me.
Yeah.
You know, and they just have like this extra like pep in their step when they get out of my chair. Or they'll feel like they just had like a whole healing session.
That's right.
You know, like through conversations about the conversations that I have with my sons, I've been able to like connect with people lately, and they're like, what you just told me about your son is exactly what I needed to hear from my own mom. And thank you for sharing that with me, because it gave me a sense of like healing. Like I felt like my mom was talking to me at that age that your son is.
Yeah.
And like people don't realize those things, that like,
because it's so much more to us creatives, you know. It's so much more to us. It's so much more that we have to provide, offer. It's, you know, doing makeup, doing hair. You got to remember, people are sitting in your chair coming from places of hurt, you know, brokenness. Of course, us trying to figure out our life, you know, decision making, and you just need. Sometimes you sit in a chair not because you necessarily need to have your makeup done or you need to have your hair done, but it's because you just need to be somewhere. You need to hear something. You need to be around somebody. You need to feel good. You want to feel good, you know? So we definitely provide something that, you know, a lot of people can't provide, and it's true. We're like therapists, because I hear a lot, you know, and I still have my personal clients that, you know, I work with from time to time. And a lot of my clients do definitely, you know, put their trust in me with a lot of information, you know. So we're definitely there to, you know, provide help, you know, make people feel better, make them happy. However, whatever little bit we can give, we give.
Yes, and like I had a conversation recently with a fellow friend of mine who's also an artist. Her name is Alicia. Her and I were speaking about how whenever we get someone in our chair, and I'm sure you could attest to this, the first thing they'll do is they'll apologize for something. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I've always had such a round face. Or like, and it always like brings me back to this TED Talk that I've watched. I forget the name of the lady, but it's called In My Chair. She's also a makeup artist, and she spoke on that's the first thing that someone does when they sit in her makeup chairs. They'll apologize for something that they need about their face, or just, I don't know, we're just very apologetic for things that we shouldn't be. And she said the clients that she has found the most unapologetic are the clients who have almost lost their lives due to like an illness. Those like clients who are like in their 80s, you know, and almost like to the point where it's time for them to go. And she's like, do we have to get to that point to be more appreciative of what we have? Or like, and that I always watch that TED Talk at least like once a year.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I'll send you the link, but it's called In My Chair. And she was just like, she hit every single like nail on the head, like with that talk, because it's so real, like what she said on like the way people like perceive themselves and like view themselves, you know. And that's why a lot of people, like, I always tell them like, you have to be more forgiving
to yourself.
And I'm like speaking to myself when I'm telling them this, you know, because we're our own biggest critics.
I say that a lot here. Be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. It's very important. Speak good things to yourself. It's very important, you know, because what we say to ourselves pretty much takes us where, you know, wherever we think, however we think, whatever we feel, it brings us.
Things. I'm such a firm believer of like your thoughts and the way you feel about yourself. I always tell my son this, like, you have to keep telling yourself that you're a great artist, you're a great this, you're a great that. Like when you start to doubt yourself, you kind of have to drown that out, you know. And I have to give my own self that advice, because like all the imposter syndrome like starts kicking in, you know. And you're just like, why not me? Like why do I belong in that? You know?
I think now too we're in a space where we become a lot more aware of what we're saying and doing. So we're being a lot more intentional with what we say and what we do, how we say it and how we do it, and being a lot more intentional with ourselves, you know. And I think that's a great space that we're beginning to come into, you know. I think that takes time, maturity, wisdom, growth, absolutely. You know, life experience, you know, to get to a place where you start being more aware.
That's the word.
Of yourself and everything around you. You know, so I'm glad that that's where we are now.
I know, awareness is key, definitely. And, you know, I was just telling my mom the other day, you know, she asked about, I guess like one of her friends, like kids are just in like a very depressed mood lately, you know, and again, bringing awareness to like really where you're at in life. I told my mom, you know, because she was like, how should my friend talk to her, like to the younger generation? And I was like, you know what? Everybody goes through their own battles. And I tell my eldest this all the time. You have to be a very genuine and kind person, because everybody out there is going through their own battles and they're battling something. And I was like, you know this, you've gone through a lot already at a very young age. But at the end of the day, my grandma always told me life is how you make it. And and I have like hit rock bottom. I've gone through like the worst depression, but I didn't allow myself to stay in that space. And I was telling my mom, like, she just has to let her kids know that they're allowed to be depressed, but they're not allowed to stay
there
depressed.
Yeah.
Like, it's their choice, but it's up to them.
Yeah.
Because you're the only one that can pull yourself
out of it.
You know, and I'm like, I'm not saying don't empathize with them. Of course, 100% empathize with them. I always empathize with my child, but I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're going through something. You're allowed to feel all the things that you want to feel right now, but don't stay there.
Don't stay there.
You need to get out of there.
That's right.
And I'll never allow him to stay in that like mode, you know. Okay, you didn't get into the fine arts program, that's fine. Feel heartbroken. Have a day or two. Now, okay, you're good. After a day or two, okay, what's the plan?
What's next? Yeah.
What's next? Like, you got accepted into a really good school. Like, what's next?
Yeah.
Like,
that's good.
Get out of that. Like, let's find the gratitude again.
Yeah, that's good that you're having a conversation. You're acknowledging it. You see it. You know what's happening, and you nipping it in the bud.
Yeah. And again, awareness. Awareness is the word.
Yeah.
Be aware.
Yeah.
And don't let yourself stay in that.
Don't let yourself
Life
stay.
is the way you make it.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Life is what you make it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hear so many people that are like, I hate my job. I hate my relationship. I hate this. I hate that.
Change it.
So what are we doing? Like, what are we doing to change it then?
What are we doing to change it? What are we doing to change ourselves in this situation? Because it can be better.
Yep.
It can be better if we change our mindset. Right. Take a step back, change your mindset, see where you can find the happiness in that. Because I'm pretty sure something's there.
Yes.
It's just a matter of changing how you look at it.
Yes.
Yeah. Change your thought process.
Being aware and learning when to take a step back and kind of like dissect, like, okay, where in here can I make the changes?
Yeah.
What am I not doing? Why is my life like this? Like, why do I hate what's going on right now? What is missing?
Yeah.
Or what can I do to change it, right?
That's right.
And a lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't do that. Yeah.
They're just like, oh, I'm depressed. I'm gonna stay depressed. Yeah. I'm gonna stay in the room. You could do that. Do it for a day or two. And then after that,
keep it moving.
Let's go.
Keep it moving.
Like, you're still breathing.
Yeah. Let's go. And that's the thing. You are still breathing. You can actually, tomorrow could be the day. Everything just turns around for you.
Yep.
You know, and it's a matter of just having that blind faith. Yep. That's something that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people talk about it, but don't necessarily have it. That faith. You have to.
It's easier to talk about,
right? It's easier to say than,
it's hard to, like, believe most of the time.
Because is believing in the unseen, the unknown. But you have to believe that there's something more for you.
Yep.
You know, you have to believe there's something more for you. Especially if we have actual human beings walking on this earth showing you that there's so much more that life has to offer. You know?
Yes.
So you have to believe that there's much more life has to offer. Charina.
Oh my God, yes.
It was good talking to you, girl.
Thank you.
Yes, I have my girl here. It was great catching up. We definitely have to do this again.
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. You already know y'all's Girl Podcast 2023 at Tina Bobina. Y'all make sure y'all follow her. All her information will be in the description. And we're going to have you back because we're going to have a lot more,
oh my gosh,
you know,
I love it.
to talk about. Makeup artist extraordinaire, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all check her out. If you're looking for a makeup artist, y'all hit her up. And yeah, girl.
Thanks for having me. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for watching, y'all.